From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
A beloved teacher remembered. We'll take you to Livingston to learn more about Kate Sorensen and the unmistakable impact she made on the community and school.
She loved kids. She was really funny.
Plus 2 bills that would have helped residents of Meadowlark Mobile Home Park fail in the Montana legislature.
We shouldn't have to move because of them.
No. And authorities investigate racist graffiti on nearby public land. Well, good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning here on this Monday, March 6th. I'm Kagan Harsha. Augusta's off today. We begin here in Billings with a sad conclusion to a missing persons case. A 40-person search team that included both ground and aerial crews uncovered the body of 63-year-old Scott Miller yesterday afternoon near Zimmerman Park. The husband and father of 5 went mountain biking early Saturday and never returned. His car and cell phone were left in the parking lot. Miller was an avid outdoorsman, which made his disappearance all the stranger.
The odd thing is his vehicle is still here. You know, we found his phone here, and so we're not sure if maybe he just went someplace that he wouldn't normally go. We've had everything from helicopter, drones, searchers on foot. Really covered this area really pretty good.
Yeah, that was Sheriff Linder just hours before he was found. Scott Miller lived in the Heights. He was married for 33 years and had 5 children. Well, desperation is growing in California's San Bernardino Mountains, where snow trapped people both in and out of their homes. Reporters spoke with one woman who left home after digging out to get hardware supplies and food. She said there was about 5 feet of snow on her roof, and just check out, you think you've had to shovel a lot, huge drifts there. When she headed back to her home, she was told there would be no more police escorts and she couldn't return to her house for 5 days. That area Miller has gotten about a dozen feet of snow in just the past 2 weeks.
Hammered.
I was looking at some of the ski area photos up there, and the chairlifts actually are buried in the snow. You can't like run the chairlifts because there's so much of it out there.
Yeah, that is crazy stuff there. You know, we're coming off some snow yesterday, still some snow this morning. Nothing like that.
Yeah, not close.
No, nowhere near that. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look. Let's take a step back in time how we wrapped up yesterday. Our high got up to about 28, so a good 17 degrees below the norm. Our overnight low on target for the most part. Top gust yesterday of 23. Let's talk about snow. Less than an inch officially at the airport. You melt it on down. Not much precipitation or not much moisture off of that. Let's take a look at those moisture totals. We're trying to keep pace for the month and for the year. Snow totals are starting to fall into that hole there for the month and still got some ground to cover for the season as a whole. How are we doing with the snowpack? Well, you know, honestly, it's not that bad. We do have some areas shaded in yellow there, but even those areas have seen some improvement as of this morning. Still got some work to do there, but could be a whole lot worse than what it is out there right now. And hopefully we'll get you some more snow in the forecast as we move forward this week. Right now we do have some flurries at the airport. Feels like 19, or it is 19, feels like 10. Mentioned that we have a chance to see some patchy fog. Look how close to that dew point is to our actual temperature. 96% humidity, so definitely going to see some patchy fog to go along with those slick roads this morning. Temperatures in the teens and 20s will go into the 20s and maybe some 30s as we get up and at 'em this morning into the afternoon. Do have a winter weather advisory in effect for a good portion of the Q2 viewing area. Could see some blowing snow, maybe not so much this morning, but definitely as you head home later today. We'll talk about the possibility of what we're looking at as more totals by tonight with the main forecast coming up.
Looking at your almanac there, though, 71 degrees back in 1987. That sounds pretty good right now, doesn't it?
Far cry from that. Wouldn't you like to be there right now? But it looks like still trending to the middle of the month. We're going to be colder than average, especially this week. We're not going to get anywhere near where we should be.
At least we're above 0, so.
Yeah, that's good news.
All right, thanks, Miller.
Okay.
Well, questions remain this morning surrounding the death of Livingston teacher Kate Sorensen. Sorensen was hit by a vehicle 1 week ago right near Divide Creek Road and died on the way to the hospital. Q2's Elena Howder catches up with community members who are remembering her as a beloved teacher and friend.
The community of Livingston is reeling after the death of a beloved teacher just 1 week ago. Kate Sorensen taught 4th grade and music here at St. Mary's Catholic School, and those who knew her say that she was a wonderful person who will be sorely missed.
Especially in light of the loss of our 4th grade teacher, Kate Sorensen.
For Father Garrett Nelson, Kate Sorensen was not just a colleague, but a friend.
She was very wonderful. You know, I had a lot of great conversations with her. She raised dogs, she rescued dogs and things like that.
Father Garrett, who worked with Kate at St. Mary's, says the entire school, not just her students, will miss her.
All of the students had her as the music teacher, and so it was sort of a shock to the whole system.
There was a vigil held at the church on Tuesday. Father Garrett says he will always remember the times they spent together discussing various aspects of religion.
She would always ask me questions about, various different topics and things like that, and we had some really, really good conversations, and she believed in Christ.
She was also an exceptional pianist and would play the organ when needed. She even gave piano lessons, and it was through those lessons that she taught Kristen Wakub's daughters.
She loved kids. She was really funny. She always brightened up a room.
Kristen says the loss to the community is palpable.
She impacted so many people and so many kids. So I know the loss is going to be huge and felt probably forever.
And like Father Garrett, Kristen says that Kate was passionate about animals.
She actually had some local bison fur spun into yarn, and so she has hats here for sale.
Kristen owns Gray's General Store on East Clark Street and says the proceeds sold from these hats will go to Kate's family. That's just one way the community is remembering her.
Lutheran Church in Bozeman has offered to donate a xylophone in honor of Kate because, she was a musician, she was the music teacher, and her dream was to get a big xylophone for the school.
St. Mary's will be putting a plaque on the donated xylophone in memory of Kate so that she'll forever be honored at the campus.
She was just so wonderful, all around just wonderful person, and she's going to be deeply, deeply missed.
In Livingston, Alina Howder, MTN News.
The Montana legislature deals a blow to mobile home park residents right before going on transmittal break. Two bills that were designed to curb rate hikes at those mobile home parks failed to pass last week. It's difficult news for folks living at the now infamous Meadowlark mobile home park here in Billings, the site of years worth of drinking water issues. Residents tell us their rent's been raised 6 times in just the last 3 years. But powerful landlords and park owners, they say, help make sure any bills offering relief would fail.
The Montana Landlords Association is against this bill, and this bill will actually do more harm than good.
If property taxpayers had faced the kinds of winds that mobile home residents have faced over the last few years, people would be throwing tea into the harbors right now.
We've lived here for 30 years. We're retired now, and this was our plan to have our space to retire in. We shouldn't have to move because of them.
No. So rent's just part of it. Water problems continue at Meadowlark Home Park. Those photos sent to us by residents just 2 weeks ago after the community's owner, Haven Park, assured us the drinking water was clear. Residents claim they're still being told to boil their water. Well, nationally and new this morning, authorities in Springfield, Ohio are investigating the second derailment of a Norfolk Southern train in that state in just a month. Officials say there's no indication of any risk to public health this time around. However, you'll remember that separate Norfolk Southern train crashed and spilled hazardous materials in East Palestine earlier this month, raising ongoing health concerns for residents. The latest accident comes right before a week all about holding train operators accountable in Washington, D.C. Reporter Joe St. George explains.
The train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, has our country asking a lot of questions about trains. What is carried on them? How long are they? Are communities prepared for the worst? A key question has emerged following this derailment in Ohio. Will any federal laws change as a result? Before any legislation gets a vote, high-profile testimony will take place. The CEO of Norfolk Southern, Alan Shaw, is set to testify in front of the Senate's Environment and Public Works Committee on Thursday. Norfolk Southern operated the train that derailed in Ohio. Shaw is expected to share what he knows about the incident, but he'll also likely be grilled by lawmakers on both sides of the aisle who are frustrated that this happened, many of whom want Norfolk Southern to pay for the cleanup. As far as the legislation that could pass Congress, the Bipartisan Railway Safety Act of 2023 is the proposal that has so far attracted the most attention. It's backed by Democrat and Republican lawmakers and endorsed by President Biden. The legislation includes new safety requirements like mandating safer tanker cars over the next 2 years. It imposes new procedures for trains carrying hazardous materials, and it would allow for greater fines for safety violations while requiring operators to improve disaster plans. It would also make railroads do a better job of informing states about hazardous materials when they roll through their area of the country. There is a question mark, though, over whether this legislation or not can pass the House, controlled by Republicans, who historically have been cautious about government interference into private business. Other pieces of legislation are also being considered. Republicans in the House want citizens impacted by the derailment to receive tax relief for any aid they've received. Not to mention, active discussions continue regarding whether or not any financial payments should be paid to the roughly 5,000 or so impacted citizens of East Palestine. So get ready. The days and weeks ahead will have the nation's lawmakers taking a closer look at trains. While votes and testimony are expected soon, real change is far from guaranteed. Joe St. George, Scripps News, Washington.
Back here closer to home, law enforcement is investigating racist graffiti at the Four Dances Recreation Area just outside Billings. Now, we did blur these photos that a viewer sent us, but the images show swastikas, SS insignia, and other white power symbols, all carved into the sandstone out at that park. The Bureau of Land Management says they are looking into the vandalism with the help of local law enforcement. You may think the increase in layoffs in the tech industry really isn't impacting Montana, but in a roundabout way, our farmers and ranchers benefit when ex-employees at Facebook and Twitter need new jobs. Reporter Dan Grossman explains.
When I say the words John Deere, what do you think of? I bet you it's not this. The company has been using spaces like these to attract tech workers who have been laid off as they drive innovation in a field many don't associate with technology.
Among the giant fields that farmer Steve Pitstick calls his land,
we'll go to the fire shed,
are the giants.
So each machine has a different purpose
that act as its stewards.
This is like a John Deere commercial. So this machine we plant corn with. So this is a harvesting machine. This machine is used for planting soybeans. If these two machines are in the field, they're sharing what they're doing from a work side. That overlap is shared so it knows which machine did something. So as the next machine comes in, it would shut off based on that work already being done. You need to adopt this stuff to stay competitive.
A vocation such as farming, with all its blue-collared brawn, might feel like an unlikely industry that is on the forefront of innovative technology. But step inside the cabin of one of these things, and your perspective might change.
When I first started, it was all hands-on, paying attention, driving the tractor. Totally different deal now.
You'll find these type of seatings spread throughout the office.
Your perspective on where that innovation is taking place might change too.
I tell people that I work for Deere, and I say I work for John Deere, and they say, oh, you make tractors. And I say, oh, I have time today.
Crystal T. Jones is the head of talent acquisition at John Deere, a company that has gone all in on attracting recently laid off tech talent to help produce more technology, whether that's self-driving tractors, precision seed planting mechanisms, or creating the cloud that manages it all.
This is all complimentary from Deere.
6 months ago, the company opened this brand new 36,000 square foot office in downtown Chicago with all the amenities of a more traditional tech space. Since opening, Deere says it has added 98 former tech employees to its workforce with the goal of reaching 300 in the next 2 years.
That's the biggest joy of my life. It's to be able to really show that value proposition. Folks don't necessarily coin tech when they think about John Deere, but we love to surprise and delight folks, and we're really serious about our purpose-driven work.
Jo Domerson is Deere's Global Director of Talent Supply, and she says not only is tech full of new minds, but also diversity. A majority of the company's newest employees are from different ethnicities and backgrounds as they broaden how the company innovates.
How important has that been?
That was one of our strategies for actually having a Chicago space. Naturally, if you have diversity in people, you have diversity in thought. So if I'm coming from a different background, whether it's educational, socioeconomic, I'm bringing in a different thought process because of my experiences and my exposure.
Some of the newer stuff, I can adjust the machine from my phone and optimize things.
What is one industry's loss is another's gain. And for this industry, it's come in the form of a new crop of talent. Dan Grossman, Scripps News, DeKalb, Illinois.